Arizor is a remote mountain village in western Nepal, lying in the foothills of the Annapurna Mountains. It can be reached by bus from Pokhara, a 6-hour journey across rough mountain tracks. The bus leaves you at Bael, and from there you must walk down the side of the mountain until you reach a rough track that circumvents the village, which in itself spreads over an area of 12 square kilometres. With a population of over 4,000, there are limited employment opportunities in the village, but each family has to grow its own food on the small terraced fields which take up every inch of available land. Water has to be collected from springs, and cooking used to be done on open wood fires in the centre of the living area in each home. This resulted in a high incidence of respiratory disease, one of the biggest killers in Nepal. Now, thanks to the intervention of Tilden Project Nepal, most of the 800 homes have a smokeless stove, a simple unit made from local materials with a chimney to take the smoke outside the house. These stoves are now being introduced to Panchamul and Rapakot, 2 neighbouring villages, also financed by Tilden Project Nepal. Tilden Project Nepal is a small, family-run, registered charity that has been operating in the area since 2006. Our aim is to improve life chances for children and families in this remote, impoverished area. The work is done in memory of Tilden, who was lost to us in a road accident. It all began with the provision of a library for one of the 2 secondary schools. Now we provide books for all 9 schools in the village and pay for a part-time librarian to oversee this service. Each school in the village now has toilets, many of the existing school buildings have been improved and new classrooms provided. There are 2 preschool nurseries, Patricia Nursery and Andrew Nursery, both fully financed by Tilden Project Nepal. A daily meal is provided to offset malnourishment. The stoves, books, nurseries and toilets arose from the observations of visiting aid workers who identified key areas of need. But since we began working in the village, we have done so in consultation with the villagers themselves, so we have been able to finance many smaller community projects which are also aimed at improving the lives of children and families. There are 3 current areas of concern we have identified on visits to the area and from dialogue with our friends in the village. Firstly, because of the isolated nature of villages like Arizor and the limited availability of electricity, there are huge problems for the younger people keeping abreast of modern technology. Thus, there are significant gaps in their education. Secondly, their lack of ability in speaking English can have an impact on possible employment outside the village. English teaching begins with children as young as 5, but they have limited opportunity to actually speak the language. In my short visits to the village, I've noticed startling improvement when I've been persistent in engaging children in conversation, especially once their interest and confidence develops. Thirdly is the continuing lack of employment opportunities in the village itself. It is our new aim to address all 3 areas via provision of a Tilden House. We want to build a house in the village similar to those already there, but perhaps a little larger. The house would enable us to offer accommodation for volunteers prepared to visit the village and spend their days speaking English within the schools, to provide a communication centre offering IT facilities for village and educational use, to offer guest house provision for people wishing to experience life in a third world village, and finally to offer employment via Tilden House, manager, cook, housekeeper, gardener, etc. At this early stage, although there remain some unknowns in terms of building and equipment, our aim is to use public or government land for the building. We have access to an advisory architect in the UK. We are seeking sponsorship from IT providers and will be working in consultation with Cyanja Council, who have expressed interest in Tilden House as an innovative project for the whole district. Based on our inquiries thus far, the trustees of Tilden Project Nepal have assessed that a minimum of £25,000 would be required. We have already raised the first £5,000 via our Top of the World events in Stamford in October 2010. That money has been ring-fenced, and we are now looking for sponsors and/or donations to raise the remaining £20,000. Could you perhaps help us? The people of Arizor live harsh, demanding lives, starting work as soon as it is light, growing their food for the year without any kind of mechanisation, carrying in wood for their stoves, foliage to feed their buffalo, collecting water up to 5 times a day. Everyone in the family helps with the work. That is how they survive. They have no access to modern amenities, not even basic health care, but they are warm, generous, hospitable people, keen to know about the world outside their lives and desperate to provide for the next generation to the best of their ability. We feel privileged to be able to do small things to assist this vibrant community. This project will be a major development, a long-term investment with potential benefits for the whole area. Would you be willing to contribute to the Tilden House?